Hello and welcome, fellow bibliophiles, to the first book haul for this channel for 2023, and I have quite a few books to show you, so I hope you are comfy because I am. Miss Moxie is down here to wave her little flag and scream at me. If you've not met her yet, there is Kat. Here she is. And I'm going to actually start with 4 books that I picked up from my friend Matt over at Bookpilled, who I will link his channel up above and down below. There's a lot of parallels in our lives. And he's a great friend, and he also gets access to amazing vintage sci-fi and fantasy books, and he shares them with the rest of us via Whatnot, and I appreciate that. So these are the 4 I picked up from him. The first one I'm going to show you is The Annals of Hichi by Frederick Pohl. I picked this up because it is a hardcover, and you all know my predilection to hardcovers over paperbacks, and this is a first edition book club from 1984. The cover is really cool, and because it's a book club, it doesn't have the ugly UPC barcode on the back. So I'm excited to one day get around to reading that. The other one is The Annals of Time Patrol by Poul Anderson, and I got this because the cover is just ridiculous. Look at that. I also have read one book by Poul Anderson, and I very much enjoyed it, so I am looking forward to reading more for him. Tau Zero, which I reviewed on this channel, which I will link up above, was an amazing book. Like, it was short and concise, and like, I am still thinking about some of the things in that book. Like, as soon as I bring up Tau Zero, like, a wash of stuff goes on in my mind. So I'm excited to read more from him at some point and see if that was a one-off masterpiece or if he's just a really good writer. So I'm sure some of you will be saying in the comments he's just a really good writer, and that's fair. I also managed to pick up an Ace Double, which I was super stoked about, especially since it's Jack Vance, and Matt really loves Jack Vance. This is a Ace Double, so this is The Last Castle and then The Dragon Masters, and both covers for these are awesome. I actually don't have, I think I maybe have one other double in my collection, but that's it. Like, these are really rare for me to come across where I live here on the East Coast. Vintage paperbacks like this are being thrown at my cat. I'm sorry. I don't have feeling in half of my hands, so sometimes they just decide to yeet stuff across the floor, and I just have to go pick it up. A surprise that I feel a little bad about. So again, I bought all these from Matt over at Bookpilled on his Whatnot auction because both he and I are full-time resellers. That's where, well, where I make the majority of my money is from reselling. And I am doing a challenge this year where I am going to read and review all of the Nebula Award winners that I have not read or reviewed before, because I realized last year that all of the books that I have been really enjoying have all been Nebula Award winners. And because I am active on his channel and I'm in his Discord and stuff, they let me win this book. So this is The Einstein Intersection by Samuel R. Delany. This is an Ace paperback, and Matt has a tendency not to check the books before he puts them up for sale on Whatnot, and he didn't check it this time. So much so that when I got the book, I opened it up and started reading it, and then I was enjoying it, so I wanted to see what like year it was from. And while he disclosed the fact that it had bookstore stamps in it, like here and down at the bottom, he did not go far enough to realize that it had also been signed to Greg from Samuel R. Delany. So I now have a signed copy via Matt, and I feel really bad because everyone in the auction let me win this so I could do this book challenge because y'all are super nice. So don't worry, I will put this back up for auction on Whatnot, so if you wanted it, you can get it once I'm done reading it, and I will probably end up purchasing the Easton Press copy. Because again, I prefer hardcovers, but I thought that was a really nice little treat. I did text message Matt, and he was like, darn it. And that was a good laugh for both of us. So speaking of the Nebula Award Challenge that I have set myself this year, I promise that things have settled down in my life, and so you're going to start to see a flurry of reviews. So I guess look forward to that if that's what you're into. And I have been searching really hard at my secondhand shops and also on Whatnot and at thrift stores to try to find the books that I'm missing for this challenge. I also was gifted a bunch of books for Christmas. So this was one of them. This is The Calculating Stars by Mary Robinette Cowell, or Cowell, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce their name. This is one of the Nebula Award winners, so there's that. And this is a modern book. This was just something that my family got for me off of my Amazon wish list because it was easy, and I appreciate that. And then I also managed to find a copy of Speaker for the Dead. This is just a mass market paperback, but this book is surprisingly hard to find if you don't want to buy it brand new. And so I've been going to the secondhand shop that I like to go to, bookshop that I like to go to once a week, and I finally found a copy, so I was able to score this for $2, which is awesome. And I very much enjoyed Ender's Game, so I'm looking to reading the sequel, which is also a Nebula Award winner as well. When I was at the secondhand shop that I really liked going to, one of the workers saw me walking around with this, and they exclaimed from across the store that, "Oh man, I really love that book. That book is so good. You're gonna like it so much," which makes me feel really good. This is Ancillary Justice by Ann Leckie. And I was actually reading the blurb about this book, and I was like, you know what? I probably will really like this book. So this is a Yuga and Nebula award-winning novel, so I'm looking forward to this. I always love it. As someone who used to work at a bookstore, whenever you have a bookstore employee of any type, secondhand or regular retail, exclaim from across the store how much they love the book that you're going to buy, it's normally a good sign. So I also picked up Jack McDevitt's Seeker. I was super stoked to find this at the secondhand shop and in a hardcover, and I paid $4.99 for this, so I was really pleased about that. Jack McDevitt is someone that I have seen books by, but I have never read any of their books, and I think this is a first edition hardcover that I cannot make my hands work enough to find out. Yeah, this is a first edition hardcover from 2005, so to pay $5 for this, super pleased, and it is an ace book, which I love. At the same secondhand bookshop that I found those other books at, I picked up Nancy Kress's An Alien Light, and I picked this up just because I thought it was really pretty. I just liked the moodiness of the cover. This is a book club edition, and Nancy Kress is a Nebula Award winner. I'm having a hard time finding her book at all that won the Nebula Award, but you know, never say never. I've had really good luck finding books. I know when it's my time to find it, it will come to me. So I'm really happy to have picked this up as well. And I also picked up a Brian Shockwave's book. This is Rackety Tam. I've talked about before how much I absolutely adore this world, this Martin Redwall world that Brian Shockwave's. This was definitely a comfort series for me to read in high school. So I'm looking forward to reading more from him. I've found out that these books were not in the genre section at all, and they weren't in the general fiction. For some odd reason, these ones were racked over in juvenile. And not like YA juvenile, because the YA juvenile is a completely separate area, but like in the literal kids section. I don't know why, because while I was reading these at like a middle school, high school age, I don't necessarily feel like that is normal. So I don't know, but I was really happy to find out where they were in the secondhand store that I like to go in, so I can continue to slowly pick up more of these and fill out my collection of his books, because they actually had quite a few hardcovers that I do not have, but I wasn't quite sure, because I'm really bad about sometimes if it's an author I really like of getting duplicates because I hadn't read that one yet and I already had it. Does anybody else have that problem where like they like a book so much but they're really bad about reading the books that they buy, so they sometimes get duplicates? Or is that a me problem? it might be a me problem. So on my wish list that I had for Christmas, I had the rest of the books from the Witcher series and the hardcovers, because of the fact that the Witcher series on Netflix has been so well received that they have finally done hardcover versions of the books in English. And so my brother, not realizing that the reason why those particular books were on there, got me the softcover box set for Christmas. And so I returned that with his blessing to go get the books that I actually wanted. The monetary value was not equivalent, but I was able to get many from that and then also just buy the rest of them. So I have, let's see, I have all of the hardcovers now. So if you're wondering, wait, there's 2 missing, there is. That's because I already have The Last Wish. I already reviewed that on this channel. And then the second one I showed in a previous book haul. So these are all the rest that I was missing. And I am tempted to buy the Last Wish copy that matches the set, because these ones are not that. The Last Wish copy that I have is like a permabound book, and it is a hardcover, but it's a permabound book. And then it also is shorter. So do I want the set to match in all the pretty primary colors, or do I just want them to have them in the hardcover? That is a question I will need to answer at a point later on. But I think the covers are beautiful. I do like that they didn't like tie them in directly with the Netflix series at all. The permabound copy is tied directly to the Netflix series, which is another reason why I'm contemplating just getting the regular one. But it's just more of a vibe of the story, like the way it makes you feel. They're not really indicative of the video games. They're not really indicative of the Netflix series, but they are beautiful. Like, I love this cover. I absolutely love this cover. And then here we have Jaskier and Geralt running around. And then the Tower of Swallows. This is also beautiful. But I did mention after reading The Last Wish that I really wanted to get the rest of the books and read them, because it added, as someone who has played all of the games, I have not beaten all of the games, I played all of the games because they're open world games, and that's really hard to, like, someone with ADHD to focus enough to do the main story quest. And because I'm really loving the Netflix series, I have actually started watching Blood Origins as well, which I'm enjoying more than I expected I would. It adds a lot of depth to it, which is what I said in my review. So I'm really looking forward to reading these, and I'm really grateful to my brother to help offset the cost for his Christmas present to get all these, which is awesome. In addition to those, because the Barnes & Noble that I returned the box set to in order to get most of those, they didn't have all of those. So half of them I had to order on Amazon, and the other half I got with the credit from returning the box set. I also went ahead and got this because I have mentioned before that Holly Black is one of my favorite authors. I don't know if I mentioned on this channel that Holly Black is one of my favorite YA novel authors, but when I saw a signed edition of one of her new books, I'm like, all right, cool, I'm gonna get that. And this is her signature, which, if someone who has to sign like literally thousands of these, I totally get it. It's very cute, but I'm looking forward to this. I mentioned on my other channel, my reselling channel, that The Coldest Girl in Cold Town is probably one of my favorite books by her, but it came out in, like, I think 2013 or 2014, when vampires and YA was at its height, at its peak. And I really appreciated the different way that Holly Black addressed vampires in a YA setting. I really enjoyed that. And now, 10 years later, she's thinking about finally doing a sequel to it, which would be awesome, because it just left on it just left you hanging. And she was like, it's supposed to be a standalone novel. I'm like, it wasn't a satisfying ending. Like, it was just kind of like, you want more, but you know that that's it. So I'm hoping that there's going to be more now. Also, my friend Donna also gave me this, which is very funny. So this is C.S. Lewis out of the Silent Planet, which is part of his trilogy, his sci-fi trilogy. And when I was going through the books that my friend Donna was gifting me to resell, because again, that's what I do for a living, I pulled this out and was excited, and I started talking about it, and her husband works from home, who's my best friend, and he didn't realize that C.S. Lewis wrote sci-fi at all, and both Donna and I were talking it up, and so now I have to give this book back when I'm done reading it. So this will have to fit in to all of the Nebula awards, so it doesn't get lost in my cavernous TBR pile. But I also picked up that's also super hard to find secondhand at all. So I was like super excited when I at least could read the first one, because I was also just very curious, because BookTube and y'all in the comments have talked about the fact that that exists and I've never seen it before, so I'm really excited to read that. So now I need to issue a giant thank you to the individual that sent me these. I do have linked down below all of the Nebula award-winning books that I am missing and actively looking for, and someone was kind enough to send me 3 of them, and I am really excited to see which ones you decided to send. And that is incredibly kind and generous of you. All of these I believe are from thrift books, so I'm gonna open it, the cardboard one first, because that one's going to be the hardest one to open. And oh, so this is Naomi Novik. I found several of her books, but I couldn't find this one. So this is Uprooted, which is the one that won the Nebula Award. I also didn't realize until I decided to do the Nebula Award Challenge that it wasn't just for sci-fi, that there is also fantasy included as well. So when I realized that I would get to read both fantasy and science fiction to do this challenge, I was even more excited. So this is awesome. I'm so excited to get this one. And then the next one is just in plastic. I'm trying to like not show my address or my real name, because my post person puts my real name on here instead of my business name, so that way they know it's the right person. So this is Vonda McIntyre's The Moon and the Sun, and oh my god, I could not thank you enough. I knew that this one was going to be a pain to find, and I appreciate you so much for sending this to me. And it's a hardcover, which is unbelievably generous of you. Oh my god, I'm so excited about this. I absolutely loved Dream Snake, so to read something else from Vonda McIntyre, I am like so excited. So this is from 1997. I'm so excited about this. Thank you so much. Oh my god. I am literally geeking out about that, because again, I really did love Dream Snake. And oh, so this is Elizabeth Ann Scarborough, The Healer's War. So this is probably a sci-fi military type of book, which there are a few on the Nebula Awards list. I realize that. And this is another hardcover, and this looks like it might be a first edition. It does have some foxing on the edge, but I do not care about that. And let's see here. This is 1988 first edition, so that's exciting. Oh my god, that's so generous of you, and thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. That's so nice of you. I appreciate that so much. I'm so excited. So again, like, this wasn't that thick of a haul. Again, I had to split it in half or else it was going to be really long. And I am so excited. I now have, I think, maybe a third of the books I need for this challenge. And again, be prepared. There's going to now be consistent uploads on Monday and a lot more reviews and probably more bonus reviews as well. So thank you guys so much for sticking with me while I've been trying to figure out self-employment, and I will see you guys at least next Monday. Bye. Bye.